the rest of the commercial banking topic. All right, so last week we stopped at the different types of electronic banking services. And as you can see, we have discussed on the products and also services offered by conventional banks. Right, so we've gone through this before. These are the products and also services offered by commercial banks, and the products or the type of products is actually depending on the different types or different banks. So different banks, they have, like what you presented last week, so different bank, they have different products for different market segment. They have some for women, some for kids, and then we also have for retiree, those people above 50 years of age. So those are the products offered by different banks and different commercial bank. And then we also gone through the loans and also financing products provided by the bank, right? And then we've gone through electronic banking services, and the internet banking, also the ATM. And then we've looked at the advantages of internet banking as well as the disadvantages of internet banking. And I think this is more like something which is logical for you to think of, because you are the users of internet banking, you are the users of ATM, so you know what are the basically the advantages and also the disadvantages. And then we also have electronic banking services, whereby I think we stopped here last week, whereby we have, when we talk about electronic banking, we are actually looking at the consumers, which are the public, you and me, and then the corporate customers, the companies, Interbank. So bank might also have other banks as their customers, and also the products. All right. So first one is the consumers. All right, so these are the services provided by bank through their electronic banking services. First of all is to actually give or provide services to their customers through ATM. We have automated teller machine. So not only machine that will help us withdraw money. They also have a machine, the cash deposit machine, the check deposit machine. And it actually allows us, the consumers or the customers, to withdraw money for cash deposit, transfer of funds, and also balance inquiry. So we can do a lot of things through ATM, as well as to pay your PDRM saman last time, and also to pay for other bills. So the main function of ATM. All right, so this is also like I said, just like internet banking, because you are the users of internet banking, you are the users of ATM. So basically you can list down, or you can think of the main functions, the disadvantages, and also the advantages of this ATM. For example, we can have cash withdrawal. You can inquire for account balances, deposit cash, and also check. You can request statement, checkbooks. You can top up your touch and go, and then you also can purchase shares through ATM. So there are a lot of functions from time to time, including to pay your traffic summonses as well. And then, so those are the advantages of ATM. First of all, whatever technological advancement that we have based on our banking facilities, the first objective is actually to improve the customer convenience. They want to give us, the customer, the convenience of not having to go to the bank or to go to the branches to do our banking business. All right. Secondly is on the cost savings. Cost savings for the banks as well. Okay. And then international access. All right, as you can see here, this is the example of what we have on our ATM. We have Visa, we have MasterCard. You can use your bank card worldwide, and you can use your bank card overseas to withdraw money. So we have international access, especially when your card has that MAPS logo, so it can be used basically anywhere in the world. Okay, shared resources. So those are the shared resources, right, related to ATM. Right, what about the disadvantages? So like I said, we are the users of ATM, so we can find sometimes it actually eliminate the disbursement float. Okay, phantom withdrawal. If you lose your card, so we have a lot of scams nowadays. Other people use your card to withdraw your money. Yeah, in fact, I think I read yesterday, got somewhere in Puchong. So this guy, he had a withdrawal from his accounts amounted to, I think maybe 30,000 macam tu, right? And he actually reported to the bank saying that that is not his transaction because he didn't receive any notification on his phone. But the bank actually rejected his comments saying that that is his withdrawal. So phantom withdrawal, nobody can check whether you are the right owner who withdraw the money using that card. And then fraud card, people can clone your cards to withdraw money. Sometimes we have system errors, masa tu lah nak duit, and then that is the only time the machine breaks down. And also crime, we see a lot of theft as well, ATM theft. Dia pergi pecah all the windows and everything. They want that particular machine. So it is also subject to crime. So like I said, these are basically the general or the logic that you can think of the disadvantages of our ATM. All right, next would be telephone banking. I'm not sure how many of you have used this service before. So telephone banking means you use your phone to call and to talk to the customer service of the bank. And it involves the transaction of retail business between a bank and customers. All right, so when we talk about telephone banking, we have three main methods. Number one is voice response. You press 1 for blah blah blah, press 2 for blah blah blah, that is voice response, and press 0 if you want to speak to our service representative. But you have to wait very long, kan? So here, caller interacts with bank central computer. So last kali, then only you can speak to the person. Otherwise, you have to press numbers according to the instructions. So that is voice response. We also have voice recognition, or this is quite advanced. The system recognizes the voice of the caller. And programmable telephones, caller access using the keys in his telephone. Okay, ini pun ada for telephone banking. So what are the services using this telephone banking? First of all is of course account inquiry. You can pay bills through phone. You can manage funds. They have also message service, monitoring usage, and also fund transfer. Okay, you can do basically whatever can be done using the ATM, using the machine. It can also be done using the telephone service. But recently we have, not quite recent now, we have mobile banking. So which means you can do all your banking transactions using your phone. Okay, basically when we talk about last time, when we talk about internet banking, you need a laptop, you need a computer, right? And when we talk about ATM, you need to go to the machine. But here, when we talk about mobile banking, so you have different apps, different payment gateway, right, to make payments. So you don't have to do anything. You just do the banking from your phone. For example, you want to pay through Touch 'n Go e-wallet, you can top up using your phone, the fund transfer from your phone. And then you want to purchase anything, you can do that using your phone. So mobile banking through apps and also chatbot. All right, next we have FPOS. Okay, this is electronic fund transfer point of sales. So this is very famous now. Last time not so not so widely used lah in Malaysia, but in the developed countries they use this all the time. Right, this means FPOS means there is a terminal at a retail location. When you go to supermarket, there is a terminal to transmit the payment. You can use the card to swipe using mainly debit cards lah. So you must have balance in your account. So you just swipe using the card. You don't have to bring cash everywhere. Okay, you just use the card and then the transaction will be automatically deducted from your debit cards. So the account will be debited electronically. So the advantage to customer, convenience and speed, very fast. In fact, nowadays there are certain counters dedicated only for FPOS. So you don't have to queue, you don't have to queue lah sometimes kalau ramai kan. So you don't have to queue and pay using the teller. You just go to specific counter with this FPOS using your card. And again, there is convenience, especially during this past 2 years. Semua orang so scared to touch anything. So you just go there and you don't have to talk to the people. You just swipe your card and pay and you can go. And also the speed, it is faster. And I should add here, don't have to bring cash everywhere. So you don't need much cash. You just need your card. Provided that ada duit lah dalam kad tu. Advantage to business, fast immediate transfer of funds. So using FPOS, the debit will be done automatically, instantaneously at the same time. So there and then the retailer or the business will get the payment just like when you pay cash, and they get the money immediately. Lower handling cost, they just need the machine, and theft of cash will be reduced. Okay, so no risk of bounce transaction because they are using the debit cards, not the credit cards and debit card. Debit card means that you have the money inside and then the money will be deducted based on your purchase. So we call it FPOS, electronic funds transfer, point of sale. Disadvantage, okay, nampak all the bilang bintang kan, disadvantages, and then it also subject to some disadvantages. First of all is security, fraudulent transaction, just like our ATM card, we can expose to fraud transaction. Fraudulent transactions are borne by customer until the card is reported lost or stolen. Sometimes you do not know or you don't realize that your card is has been stolen. So a lot of transactions going on, then only when you realize, you have to report. Okay, so all the fraudulent transactions are actually borne by the customer unless you can report otherwise. And signature appears on the reverse card. This is old technology lah. Nowadays kita wave je, you don't need the signature kan. You just need pin, or sometimes you just wave with a pin. So, but to retailers, the cost of implementation is high because they need this card reader and everything. The server must be in place for them to install this FPOS system. So, higher cost compared to just pay by cash. All right. What we have looked at so far is actually for private customer and also for corporate, but specifically for corporate customer, they have what they call an EDI, electronic data interchange. So it is actually a connection between banks and customers, whereby they provide detailed trading data and also payment information. So company can send commercial documents to their business partners. Even the salary credit can be sent to bank using EDI. So this is actually used by companies and not by private customers. Right, basically for EDI, the retailers have to respond to their customer demand, and this is also supply chain of the manufacturer to cut the process short. That is why they have this EDI. Okay, so again, when we look at the advantages, and most of them are actually related to cost. So cost can be reduced. So time is saved with efficient and faster way of transferring information. Right, and also advantages for importer. I think this part you can read for importer and also for exporters, because this is actually concerned with the business. Interbank electronic banking. All right, just now we are looking at electronic banking among customers and bank, right? Like you and me and our bank of our choice. There is also electronic banking among banks, and we call it interbank. In fact, if you are familiar with this transferring of funds, for example, you transfer funds using Maybank, they have interbank gyro, they have instant transfer kan. So those are actually related to this interbank electronic banking. So you don't have to take your cash from Maybank, go to CIMB to transfer money to your landlord contohnya, right? You can do through electronic banking. So those are called interbank electronic banking. There are two systems in place. In Malaysia, we have Runtas, what we call it as Runtas, real-time electronic transfer of funds and securities. And also internationally, we have Runtas is for local. Internationally, we have SWIFT. So if sometimes you have to transfer, you want to transfer money to international banks or you want to transfer money overseas, they need to have the SWIFT code, the bank SWIFT code, so that when you key in the detail of the banks overseas, you have to key in the SWIFT code. So SWIFT code stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. So they don't call the banks by the name, and they call the bank by the SWIFT code number, right? So let's look at the first one. Interbank locally. So I will skip this part. This is just to introduce to you. The old system is called SPITS. So the new system is called Runtas. So Runtas is real-time electronic transfer of funds and security. So this is used for large value interbank funds transfers and scriptless securities. Okay, so this system replaced the SPITS because SPIT cannot cater for increasing volume and value. So there are a lot of transactions involving banks and between banks, bank A, bank B, bank C, and bank. If you look at the banks of your choice pun kan, so there are always be a transfer of funds from one bank to another, and they use this Runtas. Right, advantages of Runtas. So like I said, if you go log on to your Maybank to you want to transfer money to Bank Islam, to CIMB and whatnot, and then, right, and then you can use that system to transfer in real time, right? You can transfer the money instantly. Okay, so the risk can be controlled, and the transfers for banks particularly are settled individually without netting debits against credit. Meaning in one day, there are a lot of, for example, kita ambil dua bank lah, there are a lot of transaction between, for example, Maybank and CIMB. Some transfer from Maybank to CIMB, and then other CIMB transfer to Maybank and back and forth. Right, so the transfers are settled individually. They do not wait until end of the day. Okay, tengok, okay, Maybank, the whole day, total, transfer to CIMB, 1 million. CIMB, total, transfer to Maybank, 2 million. So ada offset, ada 1 million dekat situ kan. Okay, so the transfers are not done daily, but they are settled individually without netting the debit against the credit. So whatever debit credit, it will be transferred or it will be settled individually. So they also have intraday finality, and the payee banks able to receive funds with certainty. Right. In fact, if you have that gyro or instant transfer is actually for the bank to control certain amount of money that can be transferred in one day or in one transaction. So that is part of security of that particular bank, but they allow for interbank transfer, right? And the banks, the payee banks, able to receive funds with certainty. Also enable better liquidity management for participants. Because of this system. So can you imagine if there is no Runtas, so the transfer will be very long, just like the old days. It will take like 3 days for the funds to be transferred. And now not anymore. All right, so this is for international transfer, the one that I mentioned before, the SWIFT code, the Interbank SWIFT Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Transfer. So the office of SWIFT located in Belgium. So the network the members of SWIFT this network enables the user, the bank, to transmit between themselves international payments, statements, and other transactions. It is also available for non-bank institutions, okay? Like brokers, dealers, clearinghouse, depository institution. But a bank has to be a member of SWIFT in order to be able to transmit between users' international payment statement. Not all banks are members of SWIFT, but normally the reliable banks internationally, they are actually a member of SWIFT, so that the funds can be transferred without delay because they have their own system. All right, let's move on to the next one, which are the products, or cards, more like cards, offered by banks. Again, just like deposit and also financing products, which are varies from different banks to another. Okay, products also varies from one bank to another, but generally we can classify these products or these cards into smart cards, debit cards, single transaction debit, and also monthly debit. Right, so smart cards, single or multiple usage, greater security and protection against fraud. Debit cards, so using card but do not want credit. Okay, so the difference between debit and credit card is for debit card, you must have money in that card in order for you to purchase something. But for credit card, no, credit card means that they advance, the bank advance to you certain credit limit so you can spend. And you cannot go beyond that credit limit. So this is called credit. So this is debit. Debit ni automatically debited from whatever you have in the accounts. Alright, so this is debit card. You can check your wallet. You might have one, right? The debit card. So advantage of debit card to business. Immediate transfer of funds. No risk that transaction will be bounced because you have money in that account. Photos on debit cards to prevent fraud. Cost of handling is reduced and also theft of cash is reduced. Because why? You just need one card. You don't have to carry your cash everywhere. Okay. So this is the advantage to business, right? When you go shopping, you pay with your debit card. So these are the advantage to the business. The advantage to the banks, cheaper and quicker to process than checks. Kalau checks kan leceh kan? So they have to go one by one. But if you use your card, they automatically debited from the account. And of course, to customers, to us, easier and quicker than to write checks. Because initially, debit card is introduced to replace checks. Like checks, kita ada duit kat dalam account kan, so you can just write the checks and pay. Detail of transaction including payer's name appear in the statement. This is what we want, right? Sometimes when you check, oh, this is not my transaction, so you realize ada fraud transaction dekat situ. But some cards not online and account debited 2 or 3 days later. But ini not really the case lah. I think this one is also debited instantly. Okay, we talk about advantages. What about the disadvantages? Again, if you look at, go back to the previous slide, the disadvantages of these electronic things are actually the security. So again, until reported loss, any fraudulent transaction is borne by the customer. Higher risk as the signature appears on the reverse of the card, but doesn't matter lah, any are not really relevant. The point is not really relevant because now you use PIN. Credit card. Okay, gila history 1914 by in the US. So here, like I said just now, cardholder is given a limit. The cardholder is given a credit limit on the amount to use, and the credit limit is revolving. But I'm happy to share with you that a few years back, our Bank Negara has done a survey, and most of the youngsters, they have issues with their credit card debt. So they declared bankrupt because of credit card debt. Hutang terlalu banyak because they go beyond their limit. So because the cardholder is given a limit, and you can actually increase the limit. So shock belanja kan. And the credit limit is revolving. Sometimes bank, they want you to stay with them because credit card, the interest is very high. and the merchants are reimbursed by the company and paid a commission, because sometimes you see when you go dine in somewhere, they just they mention there that okay, pay with CIMB credit card and enjoy 10% discount. Right, so that particular restaurant or that particular retailer, they will enjoy a certain commission paid by the bank. All right, so these are the different types of credit card. They have variable payment cards. Again, and this is depending on the banks. So different banks, they might have different types of credit cards. So let's say you're doing assignments on Affin and you want to know what are the credit cards provided by Affin Bank. So you can Google it and you can browse and read and compare. So let's say you want to compare with Maybank. So you can see the different banks, they have different types of card. They have different audience for the cards. Sometimes they have specific credit card for dia kata new graduates, fresh grad, a new card for fresh grad. Then card untuk yang senior sikit. So a lot of cards, credit cards from different banks. So Basically, we have variable payment cards. Here, users can make purchase of variable size by limited to credit limit, or not so famous, fixed repayment card. Users access to 1 month's credit by settlement of the balance in a minimum payment. Advantage, provide a means of obtaining credit, very easy, tak payah pergi beratur ambil duit kan, so you have that card. Interest-free credit for a week to 4 weeks, ini pun not, like I said, the interest is very high. So if you maintain a zero balance, then you untung lah. If you use credit card as a means of convenience, you don't want to carry cash everywhere, so you want to pay by credit card, then fine. Or sometimes you want to enjoy the commission, you want to enjoy the rewards. Sometimes when you spend certain amount of credit using your credit card, you can get rewards or discounts. So some people, they enjoy that, but make sure you pay accordingly. And once you have having a zero balance is good, peace of mind. So you use, and then kita kata macam advancement from the bank lah. You get advice, you use that card, and then when you get your money back or you get your salary, and then you just pay back. Okay, easier to use than checks, and can withdraw cash over the counter or from ATM. Credit card, you can use that credit card to withdraw cash as well. Okay, disadvantages: annual charge is payable. There is an annual fee, but most of the cards, they waive the annual fee, but they have other fees lah. They will charge you anyway, and the bank will charge you anyway. And the joining fees, the first time you join, sometimes other joining fees. And okay, the most important part is that the interest on unpaid balance is really high. The interest is compounded. Let's say you have 5,000 balance yang belum bayar. So this month 5,000. Taklah dengan whatever percentage of interest. So the next month 5,000, double lagi. Dia kira lagi. Dia tak ada, the interest is not charged on the new purchases. It is charged on the balance, so unpaid balance. So the more balance you have, the higher balance you have, the higher the interest that you have to pay. Alright, other products provided by the bank, they also have standing order or standing instructions. This is for particularly for loan repayment. So when you use for example, you use internet banking, you can choose the standing instructions. Let's say you have to pay your hire purchase loan, your car loan every month, RM1,000. So instead of every time you dapat gaji, you go to Maybank to you and pay 1,000, you can go click at the standing instruction and you can set. You want to pay 1,000 every month, every 27 or every 30th of the month. So every 30th of each month, you can set also, you nak berapa lama, 1 year, 2 years. Every 30th of every month, the 1,000 will be automatically deducted. So we call it standing instructions. So very easy. Kalau pelupa kan, nanti alamak lupa bayar. Tak ada lah, because you already deducted and you already set in your internet banking account. Right? Bank also provide hire purchase. I don't think I will go into detail for this one, because this is just offered by the bank. Any questions so far? Yeah. Because basically what we have for commercial banking is actually something that is close to your heart, close to you, because you are using the products and also the services. So easy for you to relate. Right, last one, the last part for under commercial banking, saya letak dekat sini this topic, which is Islamic banking. Okay. That is why when you did your second assignment last time, I asked you to take out all the Islamic banking products. Okay, because Islamic banking is actually under different window, under different regulations compared to the conventional one. Right, so by now, I think you know for our banking products, we have, or for our financial institutions, we have two windows. One is conventional, another one is Islamic. Alright, but our focus for this subject is actually on the conventional part. Islamic banking products is actually just to introduce to you what are Islamic banking. What does it mean? What do they have products under Islamic banking? What does it mean? What are the regulators under? Who are the regulators for Islamic banking? Right? So the history, I don't think we need to go to the history lah. The first Islamic banking in Malaysia is Bank Islam. We have BIMB, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. It was established in 1983, a long time ago. And the function is actually similar to conventional bank. So what we have products, we have services, electronic banking and everything, credit cards, semua sama saja. It's just that it operates on principles of Sharia. So I think by now you already learn about insurance. You learn about in module 1, there are Sharia principles that must be followed. No gambling, no uncertainty elements and whatnot. So those are the regulations that Islamic bank must follow. And since 1983 too, there are a lot of financial institutions using this Islamic banking scheme under Bank Negara lah, right? And I think we are going to look at some of the Islamic banking products and also contracts. So the main difference between Islamic banking and also the conventional banking is actually the contract. So for example, we know for conventional banks, the purpose of the bank is actually to gain profit. So profit oriented. The bank wants to make profit. But for Islamic, they follow the Sharia principle. They are actually profit sharing, and they share the profits. So again, the banking activities, the products, the services are similar, but it is based on Sharia principles. Paling penting and most importantly is does not allow payment or receipt of interest. Okay, and it promotes profit sharing. Okay, the bank can have profit, but they will share with the shareholders. And it also operates in accordance with the fiqh muamalat and the Islamic rules on transaction. So where the basic principles are, again, the profit and loss sharing. Not only they share profit, they will share loss as well. And prohibition of interest or riba. Okay, so this is the basic, we call it the basic tenets of Islamic banking. And like I said, the focus, besides sharing of profit and loss and also prohibition of interest, the concept are actually related to safekeeping. All right, so there are certain concepts that I will introduce to you later. The safekeeping, the joint venture, the leasing, but they use the Islamic terms for that. All right, so these are the concept or contract, and these are actually the contract. Kalau kita tengok the concept ni is actually the contract, how the concept means. So for example, we have al-wadi'ah. So wadi'ah is actually safekeeping. Dia tolong simpankan wadi'ah, safekeeping. Just like we deposit money using conventional bank, it called deposits. So here it called wadi'ah, savings for safekeeping. Which means we have the money, we have the assets or goods. We deposit with another person who is not the owner. Bank is not the owner of your money. I am the owner of my money. I go to the bank. Bank is not the owner of my money, but bank is the safekeeper. Dia tolong simpankan. That is the concept of wadi'ah, safekeeping. So as the depositor, so for myself, I will not get any share of profits, but the bank will give me a token of appreciation since I keep my money with them for the safekeep. So they will give me some. So kalau conventional, they call it interest, but for Islamic ni, they call it hibah. So you get the profit in terms of what they call as hibah. So next one is mudarabah. I think this is the most familiar concepts in Islamic banking that you might know. Kita ada wadiah, we have mudarabah. Mudarabah is profit sharing. Okay, profit sharing means there is an agreement whereby the bank and also the entrepreneur, okay, the business particularly, to do business, but it will be on profit sharing basis. Musyarakah is a joint venture. Okay, joint venture means partnership. So business and the bank is in a partnership whereby the distribution profit will be divided based on the ratio. For example, bank will take 20%, the investor will take 80%. So that is musyarakah, joint venture or partnership. Murabaha is cost plus. Cost plus means sale of goods by at the profit margin as agreed by both parties. By Bertaman Aljil, this is for loan biasanya, deferred payment sale. So for housing loan, normally they use by Bertaman Aljil for long term. And this is also include the profit agreed by both parties. Right, so for example, if you take loan from conventional bank, they call it loan ataupun housing loan contohnya. So the agreed price is actually certain amount plus interest. That is for conventional. For by Bertaman Aljil, the concept, the idea is quite similar. The price and also the interest, but they don't call it interest. For this one, it is called profit margin, not profit to the bank. So for conventional, it is interest to the bank, but for Islamic, it is actually profit margin for the bank, right? Agreed upon with the customer. Wakalah. Wakalah, the root word is wakil lah. Nominating another person to act as agent. So wakalah is agency. So agent. This is normally in terms of insurance, whereby they have wakalah or agency fees. And then Qad Al-Hassan. Okay, Qad Al-Hassan is also a loan. Interest-free loan. Qad Al-Hassan is interest-free loan. So the borrower only have to repay the principal amount borrowed. But he or she can pay additional amount as a token of appreciation to the bank. But normally, in this case, bank will have their amount, how much that you have to pay. Nah, kita masuk satu ni. So for ijarah is for leasing. Leasing is just like hire purchase. Buy-in is sell and buy back. Now, which means for buy-inah ni sometimes ada juga case for housing loan. So in Islamic or Sharia concept, for example, you want to purchase a house, the concept is that the bank will purchase for you and you buy back from the bank. Itu buy al-inah. Okay, bank beli dulu. Rather than for conventional bank, you purchase the house and you pinjam it from the bank, and you make loan from conventional bank and you pay back to the bank. Itu conventional housing loan. But for buy-inah ni, you are interested in one house, the bank will buy that house and the bank will sell back to us. Nampak tak konsep dia different? The concept of conventional loan and also the Islamic concept ni lah. That one is buy-inah. So hibah, I think hibah everybody knows, it's like a gift, voluntarily given as a token ataupun as a gift lah, right? Right, Islamic banking products, again, sama je macam conventional, similar. They have deposits, they have investment, financing, trade finance, card services, and also involved in money market. But remember those groups yang I asked you to take up the Islamic products, normally they have small I at the back. I is for Islamic, right? So whatever small I that you see, these are actually the Islamic products. So I will not go into detail because this is not our focus, but just to introduce to you. But when we talk about Islamic banking products, we are actually talking about this kind of concept and also contract. Alright, ini just like I explained to you just now, the application of the concept and products and also services. So again, for deposit tadi kita ada al-wadi'ah, guaranteed custody, the safekeeping tadi, current and savings deposit. Investment deposit is actually under al-mudarabah for profit sharing. So financing facilities, buat loan, so under murabahah, the cost plus, ataupun by Bertaman Aljil, ataupun leasing under ijarah or under al-musyarakah, which is the profit loss sharing. I don't think I will go in detail the history ni. So again, the first bank, Islamic Bank in Malaysia, is actually Bank Islam. BIMB Bank Islam was established in 1983. So the concept is similar to conventional bank but based on Sharia. So ini tak apa. Alright, ini pun kita dah tengok tadi interest free banking konsep Alright, so for liability products, again, just like conventional bank whereby they have deposits and also investment account. So for saving and current, they use Al-Wadi'ah, and for general investment, they use Al-Mudarabah principle. So these are the example for Mudarabah and also Musyarakah. The example ataupun the products used under each contract. Right, so for example, for asset acquisition, normally bank will use Al-Bay Bitaman Ajil. So for financing the use of services, they will use Al-Ijarah. So basically, these are similar products across banks. So when banks talk about project financing, you pergilah mana-mana Islamic window of any banks, they are talking about Al-Mudarabah. Okay, or if you want to go for asset acquisition, pergilah mana-mana bank pun, they are talking about by Bitaman Ajil, because this is the kita kata basic concepts or basic contract. Tapi dalam tu adalah a bit different lah. The application tu a bit different, but basically these are the products. They also have trade finance and guarantees. They also have letter of credit. Remember when we do our money market tu, ada letter of credit apa semua, ada trade finance, ada money market, but they are using a different principle, or they are following the Islamic principle. Ada wadiah boleh musyarakah or mudarabah. And the guarantee, bank guarantees, right, for conventional bank, here they also have guarantees, but it will be under al-kafalah principle. Right, so the difference is just the concept and also the contract use. So here all banking services except those involving lending and borrowing of money can be provided by Islamic bank with commission or fee charge. Okay, so for loans and other lending, Islamic banking finance via equity participation whereby bank will purchase asset and resell. So like I said just now lah, bank belikan dulu the house and they sell to you. Rather than for conventional bank, you purchase the house, you make loan from the bank and you pay back to the bank. Different concept kan. Satu bank belikan and sell it to you, resell it to you, or you buy but you make loan from the bank and you pay back to the bank and because of that loan. So for deposit, Islamic banks give a share of profits generated. Any question tak? Or commercial banking? So again, this is just the introduction to you about Islamic bank ni. Kita tak ada tengok into detail lah. We are not going to look at the process, for example macam mana buat, just that you understand. For example tadi saya bagi contoh for housing kan. So for Islamic tu, the bank buy that house for you and resell. So you beli balik dengan bank rather than beli from developer. So that's the difference. For conventional, no. Conventional, the purchaser beli direct from the developer, ambil loan from bank and pay back to the bank. So basically, that is the process for house financing under by Bitaman Ajil. And again, for Islamic product, it is not only for Muslim. And I think by now you already learn about investment and also insurance. So you know takaful is not only for Muslim, just like Islamic banking products, not only for Muslim. In fact, Islamic banking products give more transparent. And that is why more customers actually prefer the Islamic banking product because it is more transparent, and sometimes it will provide them more, kita kata lebih menguntungkan lah if you go for Islamic. But in terms of the risk of the financial institution and whatnot, they are all the same because again, when we talk about financial institutions, you are talking about the same risk lah. So whatever risk that you learned before for conventional banks, so the same risk applies to Islamic banks. All right, any questions? Yeah. All right. I have prepared for you a quiz on commercial banking that will be available today at 4, and you have until Sunday to complete. Right, please, I don't think I have to remind you before the due date and also before the closing date. So please, I don't know, set your alarm, your calendar to answer the quiz before the due date, because I have a few of you not submitting the quiz, the previous quiz. So please, it will be available at 4 today. All right, so if you have no question, I don't plan to continue with new topic. We will do bank management and profitability topic next week. And it is already week, next week will be week 11. And I will share with you later your third and last assignment, because third and last assignment is related to topic 8. That is why I haven't discussed the question with because we have to learn about bank management and profitability, how to compute the performance of the banks before you can proceed with your third assignment. Okay, so I will upload the question later, and I hope by 4 or maybe tomorrow you can try to answer the quiz. Alright, so since I have something else going on later, so our class today sampai sekarang je lah 3 o'clock. So if you have no question, thank you very much. I will see you next week.